So here are the answers to the questions at the end of the previous chapter. Hopefully you've got all these right. So why don't you tick these off before we go on to plant oils. Extraction of plant oils. Some seeds, nuts and fruits are rich in oils, and these oils can be extracted by pressing, where the seeds are crushed and the oils extracted and then purified, or by distillation, which, if you remember, is evaporation followed by condensation. So in distillation, the plant material is crushed and heated with water, and the oil and water evaporate together. The oil and water are cooled to condensation point, and then the product is a mixture of oil and water. The oil floats on top and it must be poured off. Don't forget that final step. If you're answering an exam question about this, you have to separate the oil from the water at the end. Oils in diet and cooking. Now, vegetable oils are important foods, and they can also be used to produce biodiesel, which we've already looked at. They add both energy and nutrients to our diet, but they also add calories. Now, foods cooked in oils reach a higher temperature than when they're cooked in water, so this alters their flavour and texture, and we like it, but of course it also adds to the energy content. So what's the difference between saturated and unsaturated oils? Now, we've talked about saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons. Well, the distinction is the same. Saturated oils contain only single bonds. There's that crucial word only, just as saturated hydrocarbons contain only single bonds. Unsaturated oils contain carbon-carbon double bonds, which can be detected using bromine water, which is decolorized. Don't forget the correct term is decolorized. Now, unsaturated oils in our diet are healthier for us than saturated oils. Now, if you come across the term fats simply means oils that are solids at room temperature. Hardened oils. This is for higher tier candidates. Now, unsaturated plant oils are usually liquids at room temperature, but sometimes we want them to be solid, for example to use as butter type spreads or in pastry. So we can harden them. Now, this is a chemical reaction which changes them into saturated fats, so they lose all their double bonds, which makes them solid at room temperature. It's not just cooling them down until they go solid. So to harden plant oils, they are hydrogenated, which means reacted with hydrogen, using a nickel catalyst at 60 degrees. The hydrogen reacts with the double bonds, so there are no double bonds left, and this raises their melting points. So what are emulsions? Now, the problem with oil and water is that they don't mix, and the proper word to use is immiscible. But sometimes we want them to mix, and we want them to stay mixed. We want the mixture to be stable. That's quite an important word, stable. So for example, to make salad dressings, or cosmetics, ice creams and paints, these are all oil and water mixtures, and we want them to stay mixed. We don't want the oils and the water to separate again. So to keep them mixed, to stay stable, an emulsifying agent must be used. This makes the emulsion stable so that the oil and water don't separate again. Higher tier candidates need to be able to explain how emulsifiers work. Now, if you look at this simple diagram, top left, of an emulsifying agent, the round pink bit is the head. That's hydrophilic, which means that it likes water. And the squiggly zigzag is the tail, which is hydrophobic, which hates water. Now, this hydrophilic head dissolves in water, and the hydrophobic tail dissolves in oil. So you can see that when there's oil present, the tails stick themselves in the oil and the heads poke out. Now, the negatively charged heads stick out of the oil droplet and they repel each other because like charges repel, which means that the droplets therefore repel each other and they spread out throughout the water and they stay spread out. Okay, time to test yourself then. Away you go. Good luck.